Uh, oh no.
On your mark, get set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Maxusthebeast on the internet. Now, tonight, we're talking about PETA. Now, we'll talk a bit more about my thoughts on PETA in general later on in the videos. However, have you all heard of the game Animal Crossing? New Horizon? You know, the big new game that just came out that everyone's excited about, myself included. I mean, I freaking pre-ordered it. And if you know me, I don't pre-order much. But I pre-ordered Animal Crossing because I was excited about it. And if you're wondering where I've been for the past few days, well, Animal Crossing is your answer. And as I'm sure you all know, we are all in quarantine right now, or at least most of us. And we're trying to find a great way to distract us from the horrors around us. How many times can you say the word us in a handful of sentences? And the perfect way to do that, the perfect distraction right now, is to transport ourselves to a desert island where we can be friends with animals and build up a wacky town, interact with NPCs, that sort of thing, catch fish. But apparently, that's not vegan. And that even though it's in a digital world, and that you're not hurting anything by fishing, it's still a no-no. Because reasons. So, as always, the link to this article will be in the description down below. Let's begin. With everyone self-isolated at home and finding themselves on social media more than ever by now, you've probably heard about Nintendo's new game, Animal Crossing New Horizons. This vegan guide to it will help answer some of the tough ethical questions that it presents. What? Okay, what the? As well as give you an opportunity to help real animals while living your island life. Okay, continue please. Is fishing in Animal Crossing vegan? This is a biggie. Fishing isn't vegan. You shouldn't fish in real life, so you shouldn't do it in the game either. Sure, unlike in real life, the fish in... What is my voice doing? The fish in the game don't feel pain, but fishing is harmful to animals and Excusez-moi? This is your island. It is your job to protect it. Daddy, I'm sorry. I'm changing accents like every 2 seconds here. I'm surprising myself. Tearing the wildlife right out of their ocean homes so you can donate them to blathers from museum exhibits is not only cruel but also bad for the environment. In the real world, every year, anglers leave behind a trail of tackle victims that includes millions of birds, turtles, dolphins, and other animals who sustain debilitating injuries after they swallow fish hooks or become entangled in fishing lines. Wildlife rehabilitators say that discarded fishing tackle is one of the greatest threats to aquatic animals. Don't let this happen on your Well, firstly, y'all already established one of my points for me. That it's a video game. The animals that you are catching, you aren't hurting them. In fact, while you say, I was donating them, it's horrible. That's what you're doing. You're not eating them. They're not dying. And when you hand over certain types of fish to Blathers, he'll comment and say, oh, these fish in the wild are usually hunted by predators. But thankfully, because we have an aquarium here, that won't happen. They will be safe. I can assure you that none of the fish you bring in here will be eaten by one another. So really, you're saving them from being killed in the wild, right? If you want to look at it that way. But you're not actually hurting any of the bugs or fish or whatever else you catch in Animal Crossing. I mean, I don't even think your technical, like, hook, I guess, even has a hook. Like, maybe I just haven't taken a close enough look at the model, but I don't think there's an actual hook on there. Hold up. They have a picture. So I found this image of New Horizons fishing rod, or a golden fishing rod, whatever that is. Again, I'm still pretty new to the game, so I don't know entirely what's in there because it's only been out for a handful of days, and if you play Animal Crossing, you know it takes a while for things to really start being put in motion. But if you look at the model, it's a kind of sort of low quality, but if you look right here, that's not a hook. That's just a straight out line going down. So the fish are biting onto that, and you pull them up, right? But there's no feasible way that the fish could legitimately be injured. Because what a fishing hook does, you know, when they bite down on it, it catches in their cheek or throat or whatever. This can't do that. There's no hook. It cannot possibly, unless something goes horribly wrong, injure the fish. Not to mention that, again, it's a video game. It's a happy, friendly video game. So, of course, they wouldn't include violent interactions or situations that would actively put you in the role of an abuser. You're not hurting anything. You're catching a fish, which in most cases ends up either in a museum or being sold for money. Although we have no clue what's done with the fish after you sell them, but that's not important. The point is, you're not actually hurting the fish. You've already established one of these points for me. But I had to go back over this because there is no possible way that the fish could be being hurt by the player. In the slightest. Secondly, there's a little something that we like to call overpopulation. And fishing helps prevent a specific type of fish from completely taking over an environment. The same case that healthy hunting habits can reduce a deer population, preventing them from utterly dismantling everything we've put together. Gardens, orchards, yards. Because without hunting, of course, with restraint, you would be stuck with a bunch of different animals overpopulating the environment and wrecking your crap. And you don't want that, I'd bet. So it's important to manage the local population of animals healthily. Again, it's an issue when you overdo it. When you kill too many or fish up too many. That's an issue. And people who do that, yes, that is a problem, and they should legitimately be punished for that. However, and more often than not, problems like invasive species, in some cases like some types of freshwater bass, migrate. And if they overpopulate and migrate in mass quantities, then chances are then it's going to invade somewhere else and cause a whole host of problems for wherever ecosystem it moves. So it's important to keep that in check. So, again, everything within moderation. Don't overdo it, but it's healthy when done properly. Now, one final thing before I move on from the fishing thing is that I'm not going to sit here and deny that pollution or littering or loose tackles or hooks or anything aren't problems. Right? They are problems and they should be addressed. However, just because something happens in real life doesn't mean it transfers over perfectly to a video game. When you pick up Animal Crossing to sit down and just have fun and just stop thinking about the horrors of the real world, let me ask you, Are you thinking about the possibility that your fishhook could float away and start hurting the environment? No! You're playing a video game. And Animal Crossing isn't an accurate description or emulation of the real world. Meaning that stuff like that doesn't happen. We are living in an almost utopia in Animal Crossing. Because, really, hardly anything can go wrong. And on the list of things that can go wrong, which range from getting stung by a bee, or getting sick, or making a fellow villager upset, you're not worrying about the big political questions of the world or the big controversial topics. You're not worried about pollution or climate change or whatever else. You're just playing the game, building your island, and fishing if you want to fish. I mean, heck, you can even fish out pieces of trash. So again, you're helping fight pollution by fishing out tires and cans and other random junk. You're doing a good deed in that perspective. So again, I don't see the point. Because there is no point. It's not an accurate description of the real world, nor should it be treated as such. It's a video game. A video game. Alright, moving on. Is it okay to catch bugs in Animal Crossing? Okay, off topic. I just like to mention how sloppy that is. Like, I know my Photoshop skills and thumbnail making skills aren't great, but I like to think that it's better than just slapping an X over a screenshot of gameplay. Because that... Oh, excuse the voice crack. But that looks horrible. That looks terrible. It doesn't work. What are you Xing out? The ocean? Is the ocean bad now? Are staircases? Guys, you can't use staircases anymore. PETA says it's bad. Staircases are harmful. Stop you. Boycott staircases, guys. The ocean's bad. Boycott the ocean. What are you Xing out? If you want to go with the whole X out something, have a picture of a net with an X over it, or like a no whatever sign, you know, the circle with the object between with the slash through it. Have a no sign for a net or a fishing pole or whatever. Alright. Sloppy editing aside, it's okay to catch bugs in Animal Crossing. From butterflies to wharf roaches, your island is a bustling home for various insects and other little animals. Keep it that way. Brothers would like to build a museum of fish and insects on your island. Don't let him do it! Just as fish don't belong in tanks, insects don't belong cramped inside cases in a museum for all our villagers to gawk at. Your island should be a place where all animals are free to live without being captured and exploited. In the real world, animals suffer in captivity at places such as SeaWorld or roadside zoos. They're deprived of everything that's natural and important to them. In Animal Crossing, that you have the choice to let animals on your island live free from harm, so please leave them alone. I just had to mention the next headline: do clams feel pain? But before we move back to gameplay, I would like to mention that, yeah, SeaWorld is pretty sketchy. There's a documentary, I believe it's called Blackfish, that's all about the horrors of SeaWorld. They've done some pretty messed up stuff. I had to watch it for an ethics class in high school. It was really messed up, and it legitimately scarred me for several months. So if you want to watch it, go for it. However, please be sure to remember that it is for more mature audiences. It's scarring, it's horrible, and it is definitely offensive. So viewer discretion for that is advised. So I'm not going to sit here and defend SeaWorld. They have done some horrible stuff. But for roadside zoos and things, more often than not, they're good. I mean, again, in cases like SeaWorld, there are the instances where something does go wrong and that people don't treat the animals right. But in most cases, everything's fine. The animals are fed. They're given appropriate amounts of space to live in. So everything's fine there. But you know what? Let's just talk about the bugs here for a second. When you catch a bug in a net, sort of related to the previous little discussion on whether you're hurting fish by catching them, with catching bugs, you swing a net, they're caught, you pull them out and display them for the camera, put them away, and then you can either sell them for money, put them in your house, or donate them to the museum. However, there's no physical harm being done. When you pull the bug out of the net, you're not squeezing it. You're not being violent with the bug. You're not physically attacking it. You're just pulling it out of a net. Simple as that. That's what's going on here. There's no deeper meaning. There's no hidden horrific truth behind all this. It's just you catching a bug, then putting it away. There's, again, no hidden diabolical message behind it. They're not selling it to Satan and ripping its wings off, butterfly's wings off, eating them, and then performing a satanic ritual to summon the Doomslayer. No, they're just catching a bug. It's not being hurt. And again, we're living in a utopia in the world of Animal Crossing, where extinction, other than with frickin' dinosaurs, doesn't exist. Whatever you catch, like a million more are going to appear some point or another. There's no physical way to net? Is that a term? To overhunt the butterfly population on your island. More will just keep coming. There's nothing wrong with hunting or fishing or catching bugs in Animal Crossing, because there's no way to lead any species to extinction. There's no harm done. So again, you're not hurting the animal, you're just catching it. And I would argue that the bugs are actually more detrimental to you than you are to them, because at least 2 of them can flat out knock you out. If you get stung twice by a wasp, you're out cold. And if you get bitten once by a tarantula, you're out cold. So again, in most cases, other than with the wasp where you shake their nest out of a tree, you didn't do anything to the tarantula, just moved too much in its general direction, and then it'll attack you. So you're just minding your own business. Suddenly this tarantula comes out of nowhere and attacks you. So no, we are the ones being violated here. The animals are attacking us. The bugs are the problem, not the humans. I mean, again, the whole Animal Crossing premise is that you're living in a world of furries, so you're like any actual player character. We're like the last handful of humans in existence. The entire world's been taken over by elephants, tigers, panthers, birds, whatever. So, again, there's no way to hunt things to extinction. Jokes aside, there's no way to hunt things to extinction. We're not the problem here. Calm down. Moving on. Do clams feel pain? On your island, you can dig for clams. Here's why you shouldn't. Clams are bivalves. Did I say that right? Who may look less familiar to us than mammals, but they still deserve consideration and respect. They're capable of a broad range of behavior. Do you know, for instance, they can escape from danger by burrowing through sand? Although it's unclear whether they feel pain, in the real world they play an important role in the ecosystem. If they do not feel pain, they constitute a huge group of animals suffering for food every year. Or if they do feel pain, okay. Supposed to be safe and sorry and not dig for clams on your island. X. Well, thumbnail ideas aside, what the heck? Okay, this is the only section I think I can possibly point to in an Animal Crossing game where something could constitute as, I guess, killing. Because, admittedly, you do transfer a crab, or not a crab, a clam into fish bait, where the clam no longer exists and you scatter bits and pieces of it into the ocean to attract fish. So again, since the clam or oyster or whatever doesn't technically exist anymore, I mean, I guess you may technically be killing it in the most, like, non-violent way possible. However, again, it's... Okay, I think I might have just actually fed them an argument. But, really, I guess I could go back to my argument that they can't be dug to extinction. There will be infinite amounts of clams that will appear in the beaches on your island. There is no possible way to cause mass extinction for any of the animals on your island. That refers to fish, clams, and bugs. There will always be more. So again, regardless if they can prove that clams actually do feel pain or if they actually don't feel anything at all and are just soulless, painless husks just chilling out on your beaches or under the sea. Honest to goodness, it's not that problematic. Especially since, again, they cannot be hunted to extinction. Moving on. I'm skipping over their hermit crab section because that's going to lead into another, just one of the same arguments we've been having for the past few minutes. So we're just going to be skipping over to what would a vegan eat on a desert island. Now the whole world knows the answer to the eternal question of what a vegan will eat on a desert island. Fruit. In the game, it makes you strong. When you eat enough fruit, you actually become strong enough to shatter rocks and receive extra bells and resources from them. Okay. What's your point? Well, all the vegan food can you eat in the game? Apples, cherries, coconuts, oranges, peaches, pears. Okay. Please don't tell me that you're trying to apply this to a real-life diet. Please don't. Visit friends or mystery islands to collect every type of fruit for a colorful menu of vegan snacks. Okay, we're skipping Doghouse for... okay. Let's just cover the vegan stuff real quick. Now then, let's start with what should be the blatantly obvious. Do I give two craps whether or not you're vegan? No, I don't. If you're vegan, and you're happy, and you're living your life the way you want to live it, good for you. Keep going. Keep doing what you want, man. I don't care. It doesn't impact me in the slightest. However, a diet of fruit alone is incredibly unhealthy. So, again, it works for Animal Crossing because it's, again, not an accurate representation of the real world, so eat all the freaking fruit you want. It's not going to hurt you in the slightest. However, it sort of sounds like they're trying to push this as an ideal vegan diet. When I mean, there's like a million other vegan solutions that will still get you your needed food groups in. So you'll be able to maintain a healthy life. Because fruit alone, if you haven't tasted fruit before, you know, they're very sweet. Kind of sugary, sort of. Like apples and pears and oranges. They're very sweet fruits. I know pears can be sort of an acquired taste, but they're pretty sweet. And they're kind of sugary too. And you know what happens if you eat too much sugar? It's not healthy. It kind of builds fat over a while. So it's not helpful to eat nothing but fruit. In fact, it's detrimental. You're hurting yourself by eating nothing but fruit. So again, while I don't know if it's them trying to make a statement of, oh, you should only be eating fruit, but that kind of behavior will lead you to some pretty dangerous waters. So if any vegans do watch my videos, do not eat only fruit. And I'm sure most of you already would know that. But if you're thinking about going vegan, don't eat only fruit. Because the whole thing with being vegan is, you know, don't eat animals or anything that comes from animals. So no milk, no eggs, etc. So you have to be extra careful, because even stuff you won't even think about technically wouldn't be vegan. So you're going to want to make sure that you're getting still what you need, because again, fruit alone or any food group by itself isn't healthy and can actually lead to some serious health problems. However, there are plenty of perfectly healthy and accurate and legitimate alternatives to every major food group that would count as vegan. So if you're going vegan, again, I haven't done too much research into pure vegan foods because I'm not a vegan and have no real interest in becoming vegan. However, I do have a couple vegan family members, and they've shared some of their experiences with me, so I have a basic understanding of what's going on. So again, don't eat only fruits, and PETA, please don't tell me that that's the route you're taking, because that's going to get somebody killed or seriously sick at a time where you shouldn't be seriously sick because the hospitals can't support you right now. If you get freaking like food poisoned by a bad cherry or something. Oh dear. Well, moving on. And here we are in the doghouse now. If you get the instructions to build a doghouse, I'm not doing the accent this time, don't. Life at the end of a heavy short chain is all too real an issue for many dogs in the US. Right now, countless dogs are constrained outdoors in all weather conditions with chains just like the ones pictured here. There's no freaking dog, or are you just referring to the chain? Languished alone and struggling to survive long days and nights without proper shelter from the elements. Often these lonely dogs are deprived of even the basics, such as food, water, and veterinary care. They're forced to spend their lives in solitary confinement, relegated to the backyard without any companionship, play, or exercise. Dogs are individuals who belong in homes, not on a chain. Please don't mistreat them on your island. Let's go into this. Right? Now, like I've said for pretty much every other controversial topic on this, or in this article, I do not, under any circumstances, condone actual animal abuse. If somebody is neglecting to treat their dog properly, that is abuse, and that dog should be taken to a better home. However, leaving a dog in a yard by itself all the time isn't necessarily... Okay, I misphrased it myself there. Leaving a dog in the backyard, in most cases, in almost all cases actually, is not child or dog abuse. Yeah, it can't be child abuse. Because in most cases, you know, you let your dog out to the backyard to go do its business and then come indoors or just snoop around outside. A dog needs fresh air and room to move around. I agree. However, in most cases, if you have a concealed or confined backyard, the dog can hang around in the backyard safely without fear of being lost or neglected or abused. So that's pretty much that. The dogs on chains. some people don't have the luxury of having homes with full-on yards, so if they want to have a dog outdoors, the chains are they're going to have to go. And I don't particularly like it. However, some people can't afford to have their dog in the house all the time, like if they go away, because maybe this dog is destructive and breaks stuff and just cannot be left alone with the furniture or anything in the house. So they have to be put outside. Again, I'm not too big of a fan of chains either. But in certain contexts, I'm okay with it. Again, in certain contexts. Do not misquote me there. But thankfully, the amount of dogs that are legitimately abused is slim. And if people receive evidence that somebody is abusing their pet, that person is usually and quickly ostracized and attacked and criticized heavily over their mistake, or rather horrible action, as they should. So again, it's not like people are just out here walking away from animal abuse thinking it's all hunky-dory. No, people don't like it. And when they find out there are actions or consequences to actions. So again, it's not like they're just getting away scot-free for whatever transgression you think that they're committing. But I don't really feel like reading any more of the article. It's just, I took a skim through it. It's just really vegan alternatives for your island. Like naming it something vegan to show your support for animal rights. And then, of course, a friendly reminder not to fish or catch bugs or anything like that. And then to put up announcements on your town's bulletin board saying, do not fish here, do not catch bugs here because that's abuse. So, we're just going to move on from there. Now, at the start of this video, I did promise my personal opinions on PETA. They are the biggest batch of hypocrites I think I've ever seen. They advocate for animal rights and don't even like the idea of a pet, where they prefer to see every animal living free with no human companionship. However, since pets have been tolerated for so long, they're just pandering to that. Kind of like, oh, it's okay to have pets, but adopt. No, don't abuse or whatever. But they'd rather see every pet go free. Which I mean, we have domesticatable animals. They do become companions. And again, in most cases, they are treated respectfully and with love. I mean, anybody who's watching this video have a dog or a cat or a bird or a fish or anything? Any form of pet. What we'd consider regular or exotic. Do you love your animal? Do you want anything bad to happen to your animal? If someone were to walk up to your animal and attack it, would you tolerate it? I'm sure that most, if not all of you, answered yes to all of those questions. That you do not want anybody hurting your animal, that you do love your animal, and that your animal is your friend. It's perfectly possible to coexist within the home with an animal. There's nothing wrong with it. And again, with this whole quarantine thing going on, sometimes just having a pet around is a way to maintain sanity. Something to talk to. Something or someone to keep you company. An animal can be a good friend. A good pair of ears to listen to you in your darkest of times. They can be family. We mourn their death. Some people give them funerals. And in our society, again, I believe that pets are respected. In the sense of the word respect. Treating others, in most cases, above yourself. And with care. That's an accepted form of the word respect, right? Or a way that we can show respect to others. So, that's what we do with animals. In most cases, we show them respect. And if we have the one-off bad person who is legitimately harming their animals, we go after them. Look at Alinity. Well, she wasn't banned from Twitch, unfortunately. The entire community called her out. Her entire fan base called her out, and the entire internet called her out for abusing her cat. And again, sometimes there just aren't repercussions for actions in the most immediate of ways, which is really freaking unfortunate. She did lose a lot of subscribers, a lot of followers, and a lot of credibility. So while there was no quick and speedy response from the swines at Twitch, the community sure gave her a reaction. Which, if you lose the will of the people and the love of the people, you may have just lost it all. But, and then recently that guy beating the crap out of his cat on stream. Again, that dude was ostracized for it. And the nation has laws against intense abuse of animals. I mean, bloody bestiality is illegal. For good freaking reason. It is animal abuse. It's not only disgusting, it's horrible, and it's demoralizing. So thank the Lord that's illegal. So again, the nation that we live in, at least the United States, which you keep critiquing for being anti-animal, has laws in place to protect animals. There are hunting laws, fishing laws, and regulations that prevent certain species from being hunted or fished, or caught, I guess, and prevents overhunting or overfishing. Again, animals do have, in some sense of the word, rights. But it's ironic that PETA is so against animal violence, especially like in video games. There was a scene, I believe, in Battlefield 3's campaign a few years ago, where the player character is crawling through a back alley, and a rat comes over and bites him on the finger, and so the dude takes out a knife and stabs the rat. PETA lost their crap over it. PETA has the track record of making a lot of awful parody games, spreading their form of propaganda to attack things like Cooking Mama or Super Mario for some reason for animal abuse, or also using Super Mario not only to pick on Mario for stomping on Koopas, but also to attack McDonald's for their abysmal chicken. Which, I mean, their production of chicken is gross, I will admit, but again, there's an extension, everything in moderation, I guess. But here's where their hypocrisy is. And PETA shelters have the highest kill rate of any animal shelters. They kill more than they save or adopt out. They claim to love animals, yet they euthanize them every turnaround. They're the biggest batch of hypocrites I think I've ever seen. Do I respect PETA? No. Do I follow them on Twitter? Ironically, so I can find stupid crap like this. To save you all from the rant to come and myself from losing my voice due to anger issues, I think it's time that we end this here. In conclusion, the argument is stupid because, again, Animal Crossing is a great form of escapism from the tragedy of our current world. It couldn't have picked a perfecter time to come out than it did. to take everyone's minds away from being quarantined or from the plague being around them, and giving them an exotic location to visit from the comfort of their own home. It's perfect. It's not hurting animals. In fact, you're living beside animals. I mean, like I said, you're basically like, I don't know if it's considered canon or not, but you are one of the last few humans that you can interact with. I don't know any other Animal Crossing character other than other players who could be considered human. Everything's an animal. So that's the clearest example of, I guess, animal equality in games. Because you can't kill any of the animals. They're all free to buy houses, buy items, and just live their lives how they want to, I guess. So, there you go, PETA, checkmate. But is Animal Crossing doing anything wrong? No. No, it's not. There's no hidden agenda behind Nintendo that they're trying to kill animals or cause abusive animal owners to be rewarded. There's none of that. It's just a healthy and fun act of escapism. And I encourage all of you who watch this video to pick up a copy of Animal Crossing New Horizon. This video is sadly not sponsored by Nintendo. I'm still going to advocate for the game anyway because I like it. So, please check out Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's a fun game, and again, if you are looking for a great distraction during this disturbing time, then look no further than playing Animal Crossing New Horizon. Your own little utopia. But anyway, guys, once again, the links to the article will be in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And what are your thoughts on this topic? Do you agree that Animal Crossing is actually harmful to animals and animal owners? Or are you like me and do you totally disagree with this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, Maxusthebeast is out.